Hi everyone, so today I want to show you how I made this card. So this was came from an idea that I saw on Mixed Up Crafts. She'd done a star shaped card. I don't have any large star dies. The largest dies I have is this one, which is a circle one, and I've got a whole nest of them. So I thought I'd go with circles. Obviously if you don't have dies, you can do other shapes if you want to. You could go with squares and maybe angle them, which is another idea I'm probably going to have a go with at some point. You can do all sorts with them basically. So yeah, so have a play and see what you can do. As I said, you don't have to have dies for this. So I've actually used some papers that I got from the range a few years ago now, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe even 4 years ago, and they were Craft Sensation papers. Really nice Christmas papers, but I don't really use blue and red, but actually I quite like that on this card. Looks like a bullseye. So yes, there's all sorts of things you could do. You could use this would be quite a good mail card as well, actually, because you could actually do it for a dartboard. That would work quite nicely. And so the secret of this is the fact that it's got a spring, got springs all the way down, which means they pop up, but it also means that they kind of fold. I mean, it's not completely flat. I would have to use large letter stamp for this, but they fold flatter than if you use foam pads. So you've got that dimension. It's really nice. I've cut a little bit off the bottom so it stands up, so it doesn't roll off. Otherwise it rolls away. And then you've got plenty of room inside to write. So yeah, so it's just quite a nice card. The sentiment on the front was off a Christmas craft magazine last year, so 2021. I can't remember which one, but anyway, I think if you go back and have a look at my craft hauls, it was on one of those. I mentioned it on there. So yeah, have a look on there. But yeah, so that's the card for today. So let's get into it. Right, so there are different ways you can do this card. So obviously you can use whatever shapes you want. If you haven't got circles, you could go with stars, you could go with hexagons, you could go with whatever you want, basically. I don't have many large dies. The only dies that I've really got that are large enough to make a card blank out of are circles. So that's why I decided to go for circles. So what you need to do is I've got nesting circle dies. If you haven't got dies, then you can obviously cut your own. If you've got one of those little compass circle things or like a circle cutter, you could use that. Anything, I mean, circles are quite easy, so you could even use like your plate, and then just size it down from there. However you want to do it, you just need a range of circles. So in total, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 circles. So if I lay these all down top of each other, you'll see these were just literally a set of nesting circles. Okay, and so what I've done is out of the largest I've cut white card, then the next size down I've cut this blue holly card, then the next size down I've done white card, the next size down I've done red zigzags, the next size down I've done white again, the next size down I've done another pattern, next size down I've done white again, and the next size down I've done another pattern. So you just literally white pattern, or base pattern, base all the way down. Okay, so I've done those. I've cut 4 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. Well, I say 4, so 8 in total. So obviously you've got 2 here, but 4 base cards and 4 patterns. And then I've stuck them together. And then what I want to do is just want to make the actual card base. So for this, I've taken a sheet of A4 and I've cut it down because my widest circle is about 5.5-ish. So I've cut my card to just slightly wider than 5.5, as you can see. You can't see it on the other side. And then what we're going to do is I've put my largest circle die over the top. I've scored it in half. I think it's about 5 3/4-ish. And I've scored it in half there. And then what I've done is I've laid my die on top so that the top of the die peeks over the top of the folded edge. Okay, and so what we're going to do now is we're now going to go ahead, I'm going to run this through my machine, and then when we come out we should end up with like a card blank. But the thing is it will end up with that bit at the top, so you'll still have the crease basically. So we're going to run this through. So run this through now. I'm going to take this die off, and you're left with that. Now, if you just leave it like that, it will fall over because you've got a rounded edge here. So if I just stand that up, it's a bit wobbly. I mean, you could use it as a rocker if you wanted to. It might work as a rocker actually. I might leave it as a rocker actually. You don't have to. What I was going to say was, if you put this into your guillotine and just trim a tiny bit off the edge there so that it's flat at the bottom. But actually I quite like the idea of it being a rocker. So we're going to leave it as a circle. There we go. And we're going to see what happens. It might not work. We'll see. So just in case you want to know how big each of these circles are. The white back base is 5.5. The blue holly is 5 1/8. Then you've got the white base, which is 4 3/4, and the red pattern is 4 5/8. No, 4 3/8. 4 3/8. Then you've got the white base, which is approximately 4 1/8. And then the blue one is approximately 3 7/8. No, 3 3/4. 3 3/4. And then the white one is about 3 3/8. And the red snowy one is about 3 inches. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to stick this onto the front of this card. So at the back, you're going to have a very slight, you know, gap there, but that's fine because what will happen is this is going to sit up like that. But it just means then you've got all that in there to write. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this down. Okay, now I've also cut out some little pieces which are the springs. Okay, now I've cut mine to be 1 inch wide by 3.5 inches long. And then what I've done is I've scored it up one end. I've scored at 1/2 inch, at 3/4 inch, at 1 inch, 2 inches, 2 1/4, 2.5. Okay, so that's 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 2 inches, 2 1/4, 2.5. And then what I've done is I started with the outside one. So we've got a mountain, then a valley, then a mountain. Let me just fold that in like that. It's being difficult with me. So you've got like a little M shape. And then we carry on mountain, valley, mountain. So mountain, valley, mountain. Okay, so you end up with that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of tape on here, and then we're going to stick the whole lot flat, so you end up with it like a little box. It doesn't have to be neat. So obviously I've got a little, you know, it's not quite lined up, but that's fine. So you just want those basically. And then what we're going to do is going to stick one in the middle there, and that's going to sit on top. Now if you want to, you can put a couple on. In fact, I might do, so I might cut a couple more. I'm going to put a couple on here, I think, like that. And then it's not going to be quite so, you know, it'll just be easier. So I'm going to stick those down. I'm going to use red tape because I want it to be stuck straight away. I don't really want it to be drying. So we're going to stick these down. I'm going to do an experiment now. I'm actually going to do an experiment between using Kalau glue and also red tape. I usually use Yoo-hoo, as you know. However, at the moment I've got hardly any Yoo-hoo left. And my local Poundland seems to only be doing tiny tubes of it. So I am out of stock at the moment of the old Yoo-hoo. So I have resorted to using Kalau. which is very similar. So I'm just going to stick that down there like that, and I'm going to stick the red tape one next to it. I haven't had a great deal of experience of using Kalau, so I'm not sure how well it's going to stick. I think it will stick well, but I've not used it much before. Okay, also not sure how long it's going to take to dry. So see, with the red tape I know that that's stuck now, so I'm going to just glue Kalau it on the top. And then we're going to take the next layer. Just going to check we've definitely got it the right way up. So that's the right way up, like that. Because I want my stripes to be... Oh, so I've stuck my things wobbly. That's fine. Right, I've actually got a stripe on my board. Just checking you can still see that. Yeah, you can just about. Let me just actually move it up one. Because if I move it up too far, I then can't see to stick it down. Okay, so I've just lined up. I can see the edge of my fold there. So I've just lined it up. It just means that then I know that I'm sticking this down. Right, oh dear, I've knocked the camera. Bear with. Sorry, just knocking the camera there. Right, there we go. So that's stuck down. So now, at least with the stripes, I know what's straight now. I'm hoping that's straight, but I think it is. So now we need to stick down the next one. And again, I think I'm going to go with 2. So I just need to cut out a couple more to do, and then we'll come and stick this down. Okay, so I went ahead and cut out a couple more. So I've now got 3, and I've just put red tape on both of them. So I'm now going to peel off my red tape backing, and I'm going to stick these 2 down on the top of my red circle, making sure that I don't go too far out. I could stick them on the back of there, but I'm just going to stick them on the back of here, for now. So 1 there, and 1 on this other side. Okay, and then I'm going to peel the backing off these and stick the next circle on top. And then last but not least, we've got 1 more to put on. So I'm going to peel the backing off this one. And then we're going to stick that right in the middle there. And then all we need to do is just stick the top circle on the top. And then we just need to add our greeting. So that's that. And then I just need to add the greeting on the top. And actually I might add, I feel like I might put another spring underneath that just to complete the springiness. Because I think if I do it flat, it's going to look a bit too flat. And if I add foam pads, that's a bit of a sort of defeating the object, really. So I've just cut myself a piece here that's 1/2 inch tall. And it is... Yes, Pepsi, it is 4 3/4 wide, and then I've just scored it at 3/4, 1 inch, 1 1/4, 2 3/4, 3 inch, and 3 1/4. And so what I'm going to do again, do the same again. So just concertina fold the little 1/4 inch pieces like that, and the same on this side. So you basically just need to do it whatever size your greeting is, really. So I'm going to have it going lengthways along there like that. And then I'm just going to take this bit here and put some red tape on it. Like that. And then stick the whole thing together. And again, you need to make sure you stick it flat. Like that. And then I'm just going to trim that little excess. It doesn't matter, but there's a little bit of excess at the back there, so I'm just going to trim that off. And then we're going to add our tape to the top and our tape to the bottom. And then go ahead and stick that underneath our sentiment. And this time I'm actually going to stick it onto the sentiment itself, because then I know, I can position it where I want to position it. So I'm going to take the top off that one, turn this around, make sure we've got this straight so that it's definitely, and again I'm going to line it up again. So if I'm knocking the camera again, I'm trying to stand up so I can see, and then this will go on the top. Oops, Daisy. Nice and central like that. There we go. And so there's your card. It stands up, it also rocks. If you don't want it rocking, because that could roll over, if you don't want it to rock and to roll, you just have to trim the bottom. And I'm actually going to do that, I think. I'm actually going to trim the bottom because I just think it's a little bit unsteady. So I'm just going to trim the bottom section a little bit so that then it doesn't fall over. But yeah, but that's how you do it basically. So nice and easy, and you can use any shape you want. Because the little springy bits are quite far in, you can't really, unless you hold it right at an angle, you can't see them. And I have done mine different ways round, but it doesn't really make much difference. So this will fit in an envelope for a well, definitely for a 6x6, but the whole thing from side to side measures about 5.5. But obviously you've got a bit of a bulk there because you've got all those layers of card. So I would find that would need to go large letter in the UK in post. But obviously, I'll probably hand deliver. I've also noticed that my circles are slightly off to one side. They're not completely all married up, but that's just because I'm trying to do it on a video, and I can't necessarily look straight down. So obviously if I was doing that again, I would make sure that that was, which is why it wants to roll that way, because there's too much on that side. But anyway, it's a cool little card. You can use that spring mechanism for all kinds of things. So if you want to have a greeting on your card, just a normal card, and you want it to pop off the page a little bit, you might normally use foam pads. Well, if you use the spring, then you can make it so that it will fold flat, or flatter than a foam pad. Especially if you use really quite, like thinner card, you will find you can have that dimension. So yeah, so that's that. I might put some little bits of fluff coming out from it. I don't know yet, because I feel like it needs a little bit extra on there. But anyway, that's the card. So I hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Hit the notification bell. Turn notifications to on so you don't miss a video. And we'll see you next time. Bye.